Hi, and welcome to Mindful, Beautiful, and Thriving, a podcast series by Tharaka Foundation focused on youth mental health. Before we begin today's episode, I just wanted to let you all know that all content that is found in our podcast is created for informational purposes only. This content is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, treatment, or therapy. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition, and never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have heard in this podcast. Thank you so much, and without further ado, let's get started.
Hi guys, my name is Syria Floyd, and today we're going to be talking about Black History Month. Black History Month is from February 1st to March 1st, and it's pretty much just an annual observance originating in the United States, where it is also known as African American History Month, and it began as a way to remember important people and events in history of African Americans. This is a little bit about the origin of it. So in 1915, in response to the lack of information on the accomplishment of Black people available in the public, historian Carter G. Woodson co-founded the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History. In 1826, the group declared second week of February as Negro History Week to recognize the contributions of African Americans to U.S. history. Few people study Black history, and it wasn't included into textbooks prior to the creation of that week. And this week was chosen because it was the birthdays of both Frederick Douglass, an abolitionist, and a former U.S. President, Abraham Lincoln. President Lincoln led the United States during the Civil War, which was primarily fought over the enslavement of Black people. And then many schools and leaders began to recognize this, and then it officially became a Black History Month in 1976. And so just a little bit more about what it honors is Black History Month is created to focus attention on the contributions of African Americans to the United States. It honors all Black people from all periods of U.S. history, from enslaved people first brought over from America in early 17th century to African Americans living in the U.S. today. Among the notable figures often spotlighted during Black History Month are Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who fought for equal rights of Blacks during the 1950s and 60s, Thurgood Marshall, the first African-American justice appointed to United States Supreme Court in 1967, Mae Jemison, who became the first female Black astronaut to travel to space in 1992, and then Barack Obama, who's the first elected African-American president in the United States in 2008. And so I interviewed one of my friends and I just asked her a couple of questions. I asked her thoughts on Black History Month. Does she have anything? Do you think like having recognition will spread awareness? What does Black History Month mean to you? And then what can people do to celebrate Black History Month? She said Black History Month is really nice, but it doesn't really cover much about Black history, considering most of the world is made up of Black history. And then she thinks that having recognition definitely has everyone knowing what the month is about, but she doesn't think many people care or put it into actual observation perspective unless they're part of the Black community. She also says that Black History Month to her is about showing Black pride and recognizing how much of anything we do today was made from the Black community and how it got pushed under the rug for so long, but now is more open. And then she also thinks that the biggest celebration of Black History Month would be for people to get their head out of their butts and stop being racist, but not only to Black people, but to Mexicans, Asians, and Black people. And then currently today, Black History Month is celebrated in many countries like the US, Canada, and UK. Many schools around the world celebrate the month by having spirit weeks and highlight the history of African Americans. I know in my school, all the way in some small town in Texas, we definitely commemorate Black History Month. I know a lot of people who do a lot of things with their families for it. There's a lot of signs and posters up throughout my whole entire school that talk about it. I think it's definitely become a lot more known and celebrated as the years go on. I think also because we've focused a lot more on like racism and the problems that come with it, especially after COVID. It's become a lot more prevalent of a month. Not to say it wasn't as much beforehand, but it was definitely more talked. I remember middle school, like I wouldn't never really see many signs about it, but now I see so many signs about it throughout the school. I see a lot of things on social media. I see a lot of people talk about it on places like TikTok, and I just think that now it's become a lot more known, which I think is really beneficial because it is an important thing to understand all of the problems that Black people have had to face, not only just in America, but in a lot of other different places. And it also just brings awareness to the whole entire situation and all of the things that Black people have had to do to prove that they're not less than, and also to recognize all the people who paved the way for Black people now to be able to do normal things like voting or like being an astronaut. And I just think it's a very important month and people should definitely be educated on it.
You are listening to Mindful, Beautiful, and Thriving, a podcast series by Tharaka Foundation. As part of our youth series, we will be releasing new episodes every Friday, so make sure to continue to check those out. We hope you enjoyed this podcast, and thank you so much for listening.